You know, it's so strange. Brushy Mountain State Pen closed in 2009, and yet, even from here, it still has a bit of a somberness, an ominous tone about it. And today, guys, we're about to check it out. What's up, you guys? Chet-Guthrie, the Dream Poet here, coming to you all from the middle of Petros, Tennessee. Or, for some people, Petros. It kind of depends on where you're from and where they will tell you how it's properly pronounced. But anyway, you guys, we are out here, outside of Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary. The end of the line, as they say. Or I should say, they also call it the Alcatraz of the South. You see, the reason why they called it that is because where Petros is located, there is nothing but forest upon mountains, brush, and it does have a storied history of inmates breaking out of their cells in the prison only to deal with this vast landscape of nothing but forest, rocks, you name it. And more often than not, they would be coming back to the prison. Actually, there is one most notable prisoner that stayed here at Brushy Mountain, and that is James Earl Ray, the man who assassinated Martin Luther King Jr. And we will be going to his cell. Actually, he got stabbed about 27 different times here at Brushy Mountain. He lived it, and I believe that's when they moved him. So anyway, guys, let's get to it. Let's check out this awesome piece of East Tennessee history. By the way, they also turned it into a part-time brewery as well. Well, not part-time, but a part distillery right here. This is where you get the gifts too, or the tickets, I should say. So let's do it. And just outside the distillery and gift shop, they also have a makeshift moonshine still. Yes. By the way, where we're at right now, this is also the heart of moonshine country. Think about it. In the days of Prohibition, this is what, or I should say how they made bathtub gin. Check this out. This is where they distill all the beer. Now obviously they have it chained off where you can't go much further than that. I guess really for just employees only. Does look like in some way or another you can get in there, but I think this is really cool. Check out some of these gosh, I don't know what you would call them. And here right across from the distillery, hiding in the bushes, they also have a really cool old school mining cart. You see, where we're at here in Petros, this is also a very big mining site as well. Actually, there is a railroad that's not far from here that used to take coal in and out of the mountains. And actually, did you know that this is how Brushy Mountain powered their energy, was all through coal mines? You know, we haven't even been into the actual prison yet, but I'm really digging some of the stuff that they have out here. Like these mining wheels right here. You don't see those every day. Also on top of that, here's some more mining equipment. I do believe that is welded. Oh, nope, that's not welded in there. It's actually maybe more or less that might be farming equipment. And this is really cool. This is where you get tickets. This is also where the gift shop is at. And this is also where you get the tickets. I think I already said that. Oh, wow, this is really, really, really cool. And I just love these Blues Brothers statues. This is really, really neat. If y'all didn't know, I came here with a few friends at Ventures United back in 2017. And back then, they were working on all this. They really hadn't got everything done yet. It was still, well, more or less being worked on. And just check this out. This is a hand-painted saw blade. Brushy Mountain, established in 1896. Yes, the end of the line. And dude, oh, this is epic. They've also got these rooms gated off like an actual prison. One of these days, you guys, we're gonna have to try some of the food here. This is an awesome place. And while you're here as well, you can also get some end of the line moonshine. I wonder how much that is, because I wouldn't mind having some of that, even though I don't really drink a whole lot anymore. Ooh, That's 90 proof. That's pretty strong. We're gonna put that back. That was really, really cool. I'm glad we did that. I got my ticket. So today, you guys, let's go inside. And for the first time, I can say I'm proud to be going to jail. Because, you know, it's a prison. So just imagine, from 1896 to about 2009, this is the last real outside many prisoners would see before being brought in to the Brushy Mountain State Pen. By the way, you guys, for a few years, actually several years, this used to be a maximum security prison up until about the 1980s, until it shut down in 2009. It turned into a minimum security prison. It kind of lost its use in 2009 when another prison was built, and all the prisoners from Brushy Mountain were moved from here to the nearby prison. I'm already digging it. These are some very large bars. And so you guys, let's go inside. All right, you guys, we are now going through Brushy Mountain. Now there is a video that I heard that you can watch before going in here. I think we're gonna skip out on that, but we are going to explore this area. General administration. So I'm guessing this is the administration room. Warden's office and administration. During the course of Brushy Mountain State Prison's illustrious 113-year history, the rooms along the main entrance hallway had various uses depending on the needs of the prison at the time. Generally, these spaces were often housed the offices of the warden, administrative staff, and various other prison employees. So through here, this is where they would book you. Or at least I'm guessing anyway, or where they would release you. That is really, really interesting. Look at those bars. I'm guessing this is what you would have to enter in through to get outside. At least I'm guessing so anyway. And through here, this is where you would get out. But honestly, I think this right here, this is a station zone from where you could go in this area right here. And really, this is where you would be chained up and led out to the yard, the prison yard. You know, kind of like where you would work out, have some fun, throw some basketball. You got to think from there. That's kind of weird to think about. This right here is the commissary area. You know, kind of like where you could get like different types of food, cigarettes, all that kind of thing. So imagine, many prisoners would come through here, and this is where they would buy their stuff. And you know how I was telling you all about how these inmates would break through? This is one of those stories. Donald Kaler was one of 6 infamous inmates who jumped the wall with James Earl Ray on a notorious escape attempt in 1977. Amazingly, he wasn't the only Kaler determined to bust out of Brushy Mountain. Donald's brother, Frankie, devised his own clever escape plot, and really what he did is he dressed up in an officer's uniform. And anyway, he got put in the hole, you know, which is solitary confinement. That's the word I was trying to look for. Solitary confinement. Also, here is the mailbox that all the prisoners would get their mail from. As you can tell, it's seen better days. But I think that nowadays it serves as putting like brochures and whatnot that people don't want and recycling them. I think so anyway. So anyway, let's start things out in the yard. There's a lot of cool history here. And since this is the yard, here is the whipping post. The wardens, they would tie up the prisoners who were acting out of line. They would take a 4-foot long leather strap in the base of a baseball bat handle, and that is where they would be whipped. So you wouldn't want to step out of line here at Brushy Mountain. When I was back here in 2017 with my friends, none of this was here. So more or less all of this is new stuff to me. So let's see what they have inside here in the museum. Give you all more details on what the museum was like. Okay, now this is really interesting. We are in the museum portion of it now. I walked a little bit of ways from where we were just at, and it kind of led us through a few hallways, but this right here is the museum. And these right here, I think these are the headstones of some of the prisoners that were buried out in the nearby prisoner cemetery. Yeah, if you don't know, when Brushy Mountain was shut down in 2009, the state of Tennessee went and bulldozed the cemetery. There's only like one left commemorating all the prisoners buried there, but really that's about it. Here's some of the stuff that you would kind of see while here at Brushy Mountain. These are actual artifacts as well. That is an Outlaw Brotherhood skull ring and artwork. And there is a heart right there that was made out of plastic bags. And that right there, that is Gary Bird Spangler. That's his badge right there. And what a lot of people don't know is Brushy Mountain actually is in the shape of a cross. If you all did not know that, that is the shape of the building. I guess really it was meant to lead men to Christ, I guess. And this kind of talks about what I mentioned. All of Brushy Mountain was powered by the nearby coal mines that prisoners would mine. Kind of the reasons why they stopped mining in this area was the coal was just not that great of quality. And then you had the Great Recession in 2009. But these are some of the mess kits that the men would take with them up to the mountains, up to the coal mines. And that's one of the incline cars that they would use to be taken back and forth. And just check out the size of that wrench. Again, these are some of the old things that were found here at the site. Kind of the things that you would see while here in Brushy Mountain's coal mines. By the way, here is a coal mining uniform that a prisoner would wear, especially the cap. That's old. And also some of the shovels and picks that they would use to basically power up the entire prison. And since we were just outside of the prison yard, here is what the sheriffs or wardens would use to whip the prisoners that stepped out of line. Again, the end of a baseball bat and a 4-foot piece of leather. Imagine being struck with that. Also, that is a huge baton. And those shackles, very nasty looking too. Also, here's some of the warden stuff. This is James Fowler's. Kind of the stuff that you would see. Also, here's some officer badges throughout the years. Warden Tollett's brass knuckles. You would not want to be on the receiving end of those brass knuckles. And these are some of the pictures of the guards who worked here at Brushy Mountain. The correctional officer ID photos. And I find this really interesting. This is a checkerback board found in an abandoned garden shack. That's really interesting. And here's Tennessee Department of Corrections. Again, a very old complex flag. All right, after seeing that was really cool. I have to show you all this. Although this is pretty cool right here, I think I think this is part of the laundromat. This is where you get your clothes, I believe. But that's not really what I wanted to show you guys. Here is an inmate's bed. And if you look clearly, you can see where shanks were cut out. Yes, shanks were cut out of this prison bed. You know, I honestly wonder how long it would take those prisoners to cut out a piece of metal like that. Prisons can be dangerous, and prisoners also can be crafty. Okay, now, there's a lot of amazing stuff in this museum right here. But after seeing that, let's go take a trip to the hole. Now, when this was an active prison, you wouldn't want to hear that. But the hole, that is solitary confinement. And this is, again, this is one of the places in a prison where you would not want to be. Absolute silence, absolute darkness. Many a man would go crazy here in solitary confinement. Hell on earth. When Brushy opened in 1896, the hole housed disobedient and dangerous inmates for days, weeks, and even months at a time. If the warden deemed it right, the hole wasn't just about solitary confinement to a 6x3x8 space. It was far worse. Inhabitants were treated to suspension torture, tied by their thumbs, pulley cords hanging from the ceiling, toes barely touching, for up to 30 minutes. This went up until 1905, when the practice was deemed inhumane by the State Senate Commission. The size of the hole increased to 4x8x10 when the new prison was opened in 1933. It is still a dreadfully dark dungeon containing just a mattress and 2 buckets, one for fresh water and the other for a toilet. So this, you guys, this is solitary confinement. Now, some of these rooms, if you look hard enough, you can see where people scratched into the walls. I think it's this one right here. So we're gonna check and see if we can't find it. Well, if my phone would work, but, oh, there we go. Took it a minute. Oh yes, see? Right there. Men would carve their names, like right there. You would have men carving their names. Someone looks like they gave their life to Jesus. But just think, I mean, people would be stuck here for days upon weeks upon months. And this is all you would have. Just 2 rusty beds. So let's walk around to this other one right here. This one is gated off. And I think there's a reason for that. I think this is actually where James Earl Ray was housed. So we'll get inside this one real quick. Again, this is just some of the stuff that was carved on the walls. It's very, very scary. Imagine up to 2 guys at a time, maybe even 4, would be in here at once. And just outside the hole, I think this was an interrogation room. I'm thinking because it's closed off, or maybe it was a communication room. I'm honestly not too sure, but with it being down here in the hole, I probably would not want to be in that room. By the way, on top of the hole, not far from it, they had the chapel. So ironically, in a place that felt like total hell, the church in heaven was right on top of it. Actually, I think this is where the prisoners would be brought in for checking. I think what we just saw there is where they kept the administration rooms, and I guess where they'd let visitors come through or letting inmates out. I'm believing anyway. And right there, it's about 3 stories tall. We're probably going to go inside there in a minute. Let's take a closer look at these barbed wires. You definitely would not want to be on the receiving end of those barbed wires. That would not be good. Just check that. Look out that watchtower right there. Imagine, people would be looking down at you all the time to make sure you didn't get stuck in those barbed wires. Okay, so let's check out the prison rooms, where prisoners would live. Normal prisoners. Here, imagine if you were being brought in, prisoners would be yelling and screaming at you, probably saying, "Fresh meat, fresh meat." Or at least I'm guessing that's anyway. And here is what some of the prison rooms would look like. Here is number 25. But I'm guessing you probably would have more than just 2 prisoners there. Or at least, I'm guessing anyway. There's where you would write a letter, get a Dear John letter. Not fun to get a Dear John letter. And of course, there's the toilet. The turlet. Now, I know there was a time when you could actually walk inside one of these. I don't think it's possible anymore. But that's just what I remember when my friends and I came out here back in 2017. But then again, that was back in 2017. I think that was like 7 years ago. And also, if you wanted your haircut, here is where you would get your haircut. Think about it. They would give you a shave, and that's about it, and they would send you on your way. And now if you all are curious how prisoners here at Brushy Mountain got a shower, well, this is it. Looks like you'd probably have up to maybe about 4 or 5 men getting a shower, but I don't know, it makes me think about that old saying in prison, so I'm just gonna keep walking. And by the way, here is the other side of this cell block. It's about the same, about 4 stories high. I'm wondering if maybe, well, I think it was all pretty much for the same. So let's go upstairs. There's a 2nd floor to this. Wonder what's up here. Oh, we're here on the 2nd floor. Kind of what we saw from the bottom. A big, giant gate. Upon more prison cells. Upon more prison cells. This must have been really monotonous. I was hearing from a former inmate that gives tours here. He was saying that each prisoner would not stay to one particular room at a time. They would move them very, very often. And it was really just to play a mind game on the prisoners. That's all it was. A mind game. So just beyond this area right here, we have the visitation room. So I'm guessing what we saw down in the hole, that was probably an interrogation room. So let's check out the visitation gallery.
That's like 3 life sentences. And
oh goodness. The visitation room. From here, as a prisoner, you would be led through this door, and your loved one would be on the other end. And that is where you could have a conversation. I'm guessing that would probably last about an hour, 2 hours. I'm guessing anyway. And that is some pretty strong bars. And it looks like what we have here are more letter mailboxes that prisoners would receive letters from. Hostage shootings. Actually, I remember reading about this. On February 8th, 1982, several white inmates armed with a .22 caliber pistol, switchblade, and 6 shanks sawed out of their cage tails. So these prisoners were some pretty messed up people. But you all can read more about that later if you want to pause the video. But in here, this is the cafeteria. This is where all the prisoners would come in, and this is where they would get their food. Now, I forgot who painted these murals. I think it was a local school group, I think. I'm actually not too sure. But I do enjoy these raccoons. And I think that's a teal, I think. These raccoons just looking back at me. And where prison guards would look at me eating lunch or dinner. And this right here, since we are in the cafeteria, this is where the prisoners would come through. And they would get their food. They'd get their chili, sometimes watered down Kool-Aid and food that you don't really know if it's food. I've heard prison food is pretty bad, but this is where men would get their food. And I think I already stated it, but just because this prison is so haunted, Omar Gosh which is a very well-known vlogger. He came in here, and it was in this room that a chair flew by itself. It's really creepy to think about. So we're gonna get out of this room. And to think, this one block held so many men. I imagine back then it must have been really, really loud, especially for the new guys. I've already made that joke before. Yes, they would scream and be like, fresh meat, fresh meat. Ooh. But you guys, now that we've gotten out of this cell, let's go to the last cell that you would not want to be in, besides the hole, Death Row. For the time that Brushy Mountain was a maximum security prison, or prisoners, they would only get about an hour of sunlight a day. And this is the very last room that they would be living in before getting I think they did hangings. I also think they did lethal injections as well. I think it was mostly the electric chair. We're about to find out. Now this was dubbed as D block. This is the very last room that prisoners would see. State of Tennessee, Frank G. Clement, Governor, Department of Corrections, Keith Hampton, Commissioner, Isolation Cell Building, Brushy, Petros, Tennessee, Buildings Department of Corrections, 1957. Ew. That is very, very dark. Noticed, no paranormal investigation of ghost hunting allowed during daytime hours. I totally understand that, because this is a very haunted place, especially since this is Death Row. Like, this is where people would meet their end for whatever they did. And yeah, 1 hour of daylight for these prisoners that were here in D block. As you all can tell, the rooms are just a little, or actually a lot more different. They're a lot more closed off. And this is where they would get their food. Even though I'm not ghost hunting, you guys, if you all happen to catch anything, just let me know. So let's check out more of these other rooms. Looks like it's all about the same on this end. That's marked 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This place has a lot of death associated with this. What am I trying to say? There's a lot of death associated with this building. I do believe that was the room where they executed people. Now, since this is the maximum security side, this is where prisoners here in D block would be allowed their 1 hour of recreation time. Now, I think they did this on purpose to let it overgrow. I mean, back when I was here in 2017, by the way, there's a viewing area. Much of Brushy Mountain looked like this. A lot of weeds, a lot of overgrowth. That one looks relatively clean though. But there is one that they have allowed people to go in, and this one is really clean, or at least for the most part, kind of clean. A lot of kudzu on this end. Gotta think, this is where men would meet their end. There's not really much there. Looking into it, a lot of overgrowth and a lot of kudzu. A lot of kudzu. And now this is something different compared to the last time I was here. This was not concreted off. You could actually see from the outside, or the inside looking on the outside. So I guess they did it just because of safety reasons. I'm thinking so anyway. There was a time when people could walk up to that guard shack, and I still think it is possible. We might try that here in a moment. But again, I say, just think about it. From there, you would be watched like a hawk. You couldn't really do a whole lot. You could just look and wait, or probably never wait at all. Maybe you were just waiting for the chair. Now, I want you all to notice something about the walls here. As you all will see, most of this is not, or what's the word? It does not have any barbed wire on it. For the most part, if you are a very skilled athletic prisoner, it would not be hard for you to climb up this wall and disappear out into the woods. But there is good reason for this, as I stated at the beginning of the tour of beautiful Brushy Mountain. Well, depending on who you say it's beautiful. Well, if you were to climb out and escape, there would not be a whole lot of hope for you. You see, you could escape the guards, but for miles at the time, you could only dream that there would be somewhere where you could eat food or get somewhere safe or take somebody hostage. There wasn't a really whole lot here. By the way, just check out the water. I find it really peaceful. I almost kind of wonder if maybe prisoners got some water from here when they weren't in their cells. Now there is one more thing I am looking for, and that is one of the mines here at the prison. It was honestly right at the prison, and prisoners would mine while just walking out into the nearby fields. I actually think it's right over there. It's gonna be a walk. Here along this side wall here, where the fence ends, the walls end, just beyond this gate, here is one of the coal mines. Now you all can see that it has been covered up, obviously with the dirt. There is a minor opening right there, but I guess that's maybe done for reasons, I guess. But think about it. Prisoners would walk from their cells here in this field, and they'd walk up to one of these coal mines, and this is where they would get their coal. Now there is another coal mine that is out on Frozen Head State Park's property, which isn't too far from here. It also has a really cool watchtower and whatnot. I don't think we're gonna go out there today, just because I feel like I'm running a little bit low on time, but that's honestly not that bad. And I just noticed this as I was walking up to it. But here is their stage. This is something new that has been built in the last 5 years or so. I hear that Old Crow Medicine Show is supposed to be playing here sometime in June. I might have to come back for that. I like Old Crow Medicine Show. Now that leaves us with the last building we have not seen here at Brushy Mountain, and that is the gymnasium. Yes, much like the yard, this was another sense of freedom. Only that freedom was at the base of hell that they could not escape. As you all can tell, there was a lot of basketball that went on here way back when. But now it's just a silent room full of ghosts. Very ominous, if you ask me. Alrighty, you guys, I believe that's going to be another vlog for another day. Brushy Mountain State Pen has been on my list for quite a while now, and today I got to see it. So anyway, you guys, remember, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Always means a lot. Goes to show that y'all care and that y'all want to see more awesome videos. So without further ado, you guys, this vlog is over.